Hello everyone and welcome back to GPT React 30 series. So this is the part 5 of the series and today we are going to build chart visualizations using Recharts library. So Recharts library is a popular charting library for React components where we use simple wrapper components like line chart, bar charts and other charts to build chart components, and the goal of the today's tutorial is to build a line chart like this and a bar chart using Recharts library. This will help us to learn how visualizations are created, how to manage the data for visualizations, and how to have visualizations in place whenever required in any kind of projects. So since this is GPT React 30 series, we are using ChatGPT for our code snippets because it becomes far more easier to take the code from ChatGPT rather than writing it from scratch, and tutorials become much more faster and better. So coming to the ChatGPT part, so this is the prompt which I added, which was tutorial for building chat visualizations. I will share this into the chat description. And this is the first thing that we are going to do. We are going to install Recharts npm. So you have to create a new environment on StackBricks and select React JavaScript environment. Then select new terminal and paste the command here, npm install Recharts. Hit enter. This will install the Recharts library. Then go to the src and create a components folder. Within the components, create a chart.jsx file. Now in this chart.jsx file, we will copy the code line by line. First thing is we import React from React. Then we import some components which are built in into Recharts library. Let's explore them one by one as we use them into our code. So we are using line charts, line, Cartesian grid and other stuff. We will cover them in some time. Next thing that we need is the data for visualization. So this is the data format that it expects. It expects is into a JSON array, and JSON array should have the following parameters. First thing is the name. So you can have any key name. You just have to specify this name into the charting library, which will be displayed on the months like the x-axis. Then the values that you need to specify on the y-axis are computed automatically. Then we need to specify the PV and UV, like the values which are need to be shown on the charts. So these are the UV, PV and AMT. So these are the values which we have in the JSON array. Next thing that we do is we create a chart component with the other components that we are going to cover now. So these were imported first, and let's cover them line by line. The first component that we import is the responsive chart, responsive container. So if you go to the Recharts library and go to the API, here everything is explained. So the first thing is responsive container. So it is basically a container which makes the chart adapt to the parent component. So whatever parent container size is, it will adapt to it accordingly. You specify the width. In our case, we have specified the width as 100% of the parent, and then the height in px, whatever height that you want. Next thing is the line chart. So line chart is the built-in component or wrapper component where we use the line chart, then we use the margin to specify how much spacing we want within the responsive container, and we pass on the data to this line chart, which will render the line chart in our code. The next thing is the Cartesian grid. So the grid that you see behind this line chart component, this grid is rendered using the Cartesian grid component. You can find the name here. So this is the Cartesian grid component that we use. The next component is the x-axis. So as I mentioned, you can have any name in the JSON array. You have to specify the key that you want to be used in the x-axis. So data key that we are using is name, which is why the months will be shown on the x-axis. Then you specify the y-axis, and in the y-axis you first have the tooltip, which shows the data in a tooltip format. So if you go to the line chart, you will see a tooltip like this on hovering of any paragraph. So this tooltip component is present. Next thing is the legend that you see below the line chart here. Then you have the lines itself. So we have two lines here, which is the PV and UV. Let's add the AMT line as well, because we want the AMT line to be shown as well. So this will be AMT line because we have three values in our code. And let's just change this to some other code. Hit save. Now this is exported by default. So we go back to app.jsx and we first remove the boilerplate code. So let's remove the code from here. So let's remove the divs and paragraph tags. Then we remove the React logo and other stuff. Then use state hook. and the count as well. And now let's go back to our charting library. First thing that we need to do is we need to import the chart component. So we will import chart from /components/chart. So this will basically import the chart component. Next thing that we need to do is we need to have those chart in our code. So we'll copy the JSX code and add it into our div. Hit save. So this will basically add the chart into our code. Now, as you can see, we have the chart. Now, the last thing that we need to do is we need to update the CSS file. So we go to the styling section and copy the style as it is. We have the app with texture and center. The main thing is chart container. So this will specify the width, how much the chart width should be, and the max width of the chart. So chart container is the built-in class into our app. So we need to specify that. So we go to the app.css and we replace the CSS file with our own code. And as you can see, we have the 3 lines with the PV, UV, and AMT displayed. And if we go to some resizing, it will resize automatically up to 400px. So yeah, that is how it works. So max width is 800px, so it will resize up to 800px. The next thing that we can do is we can add a bar chart as well. So let's modify the code a little bit and we'll import the bar chart and bar component additionally. So let's go back to the chart.jsx. Then we will change the import and we'll add the bar chart component here. Then copy the bar chart code, which is the responsive container and the bar charts. So let's copy this code and add it below a responsive container. Now the thing is we need a wrapper component because we are using 2 responsive containers. So they should have a parent component as per React requirement. So we have a div, then we add the responsive container, and we have the bar chart with only 2 values. So similar to how we did with the line chart, we will add another bar component here, which is the individual bar. This will be AMT and fill should be, I think, yes. Yeah. So let's change this to here and it save. So as you can see, we have the 3 components PV, UV, and AMT in the form of bar chart. And we can see the similar variations in the line chart and the bar chart, and the visualization is looking great. So this is basically how you can create visualizations using Recharts library in React.js projects. So this is a basic example. You can go to the example section and you can find all the examples here like simple line chart and tiny line chart, then area chart, compose chart. Also in the API part, you can see all the types of charts that you have. You have the compose charts where the combination chart is present, then pie chart where pie chart component, then radar chart, radial bar chart, scatter chart, funnel chart, then tree map, which is sometimes used to specify the memory occupied by files by front-end developers, then Sankey charts, I don't know what this is, and basically all the components that you have. And in the example section, you will find all the additional examples with various variations that you can do with actual code as well. So pretty simple library and pretty simple usage and pretty easy way to use it into our code. So this was a simple and short tutorial on how to use Recharts library to build chart components in React.js based projects. Hope you found this tutorial useful. If you like this video, then hit the like button, submit your feedback in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more such content in future. That's it from my end for today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye.